Good morning. Here is the debris field of my desk. I'll zoom down here and see more of the debris field. And there's a little bit of empty space where I can function. Yesterday I made a little review of pens that came from a box lot that I got on eBay, mixed bag, and I forgot to mention this one. This is a Swan number 4 nibbed pen. I think it's number 4 nibbed pen. Let me just look it up. Yes, number 4. And I could tell in the blurry pictures that this was in the lot of otherwise sort of unknown makers. And it had a sack in it, and it works, more or less. Come on, go. It has an okay nib. It's it's an okay nib. It will work better. It's not even 5 in the morning here, and I'm trying to do a video. It feels almost like it wants to be sort of a very tiny stub nib, but I don't think it's successful in that approach, so maybe it's just a fine, slightly flexible nib. But otherwise, nice to work with. Swans are interesting because their levers are always so big. They have really long levers, longer than they need to be. And when you see a lever that's just overly long, it's just very funny, especially when you see them on very thin pens, which sometimes they made. Anyway, the problem with this pen, if there is a problem, yes, there is a problem with this pen. The problem is it doesn't screw on. It has, only the barest connection between the threads of the cap and the threads of the barrel. But it otherwise looks like the pen hasn't really been used much. It's very crisp and clean and whatever. So I don't quite understand how that happened. But it happened. So what I'm going to do with it, it's a reddish pen, very nice red marble, and it has a nib that would be okay for doing some sort of drawing work, even though I can't carry it around with me successfully because the cap would undo. I'm going to leave it here on my desk and use it for red ink. I do color coordinate my pens on my work desk so that when I do have to do a drawing in red, or I want to do a drawing in red, normally I'm not hired to do something in red, but occasionally I do for fun and for my own self. I sometimes have to do calligraphy in red. I can use this pen because it's going to be here on the desk and it's going to be red, and I'll remember that it will have red ink in it. There is a slight bulging right here, which is due to this probably was placed in an area that was hot, in a showcase of a flea market or in a shop window or something, and it heated, and the plastic deformed a little bit. There's a little bit of a bulge right there, and that also could explain why the cap doesn't screw on. But anyway, it's quite nice. It is, as I said, pretty crispy. It doesn't look like it's had a lot of wear. Well, maybe it's just been buffed. That's another possibility. Where that's probably more likely. Someone decided to shine it up and put it in the buffer. Stupid. Anyway, this was in yesterday's find that I had forgotten. It slipped underneath my otherwise completely clear desk. This one, I realized later, has a lever that needs a little pin, little ring on the inside to keep the lever from falling out completely, which I can repair. This is another pen that has a red ink, but it's a pen that I've never, ever heard of before. Skidmore, Toledo, Ohio. What do you know? I like discovering things I have never seen. In 30 years of collecting pens, I don't remember a Skidmore pen. And does it skid more? Skid less. So anyway, it's quite fun. So it will go in my collection of weird pens that I have, one-offs, or sometimes 2 or 3 offs, but things that I don't have too many of. I do have Kritzlers, what is it? Kritzler, Kritzler. I do have Kritzler pens. So, and these are not overly interesting, but they do provide good bodies for my Franken pens. As I said, this was a safer pen. I don't have one of these, I don't think, so that'll go in my collection of oddments. And lastly was the, well, not lastly, because there was that modern pen. There was this Webster pen, and I think I already have one of these, but not with the name Benedict's. I love that name, Benedict's. And that thing there that I thought could have been a crack is just a gash. Gashes are better than cracks. Very crispy, though. The edges of the top of the cap and the bottom of the barrel are very sharp. So, all in all, it was a nice little lot. When I buy lots like this, I sometimes am happy because if you were buying, or you might want just the swan, if you bothered to see that it was a swan, and you'd say, okay, I'm going to bid $50 on, or pick a number, and then you will value these at 0 and you type in 50 and you press bid and you're done, and you don't get it because I am bidding on it, and I put a value to this and a value to this and to this, and even if it's $1, I will value it. This one, this modern pen, I might have valued it at $1. Once in a very great while, I might say 0 if it's something I absolutely positively know I don't want, like a ballpoint pen, a cross ballpoint pen, like, ugh. My fingers hurt just thinking about those pens. They're so thin and they're so slippery, and they're ballpoints, and those little incised vertical lines just make you go straight down, your hand slides down. I might value those. I might actually put a negative number to those because they're so evil. This is actually kind of a nice pen. EFX. It looks like, if I went to a leather bar wearing my chaps and my harness, and I wanted to, and my little black book to take down the phone numbers of some other guy in his get up, this is the pen I might have strapped to my thong, or my holster, whatever leather people wear, because it has that sort of butch leather aspect to it. And I kind of like that. It looks like it looks like the person that designs spark plugs for a job designed this on the weekend. And actually it has kind of a nice nib. Believe it or not. The weird thing about this, the thing that is just funny, here's this very machinist looking pen, no decoration, all function. It belongs in the glove compartment of a Jeep. Do Jeeps even have glove compartments? I don't think so. They'd call it a utility drawer or something. Anyway, the nib has these little curly Q designs on it. Like, oh God, it's like putting, those little dot designs that you see on Oxford wingtip shoes, putting them on your yellow work boots, those little designs, like, it doesn't make sense. Artistically, it doesn't make sense. So this pen, which was moving up, here's a graph of the esteem of this pen in my mind. It started out with 0, and then it went up a little bit because of this issue, which normally I don't like, but it's okay because it's short anyway. And it goes up and down, and then it just plummeted when I saw that, because it just seems like someone else said, the daughter of the spark plug manufacturer, put down her pretty kitty game, whatever those, that on her phone, and said, "Daddy, I like that pen, but can you make the point pretty?" Yeah, okay. Cupcake, sure. Whatever you say, darling. And then he added that because otherwise it doesn't have any decoration. These little bumps, I don't know they don't count as decoration to me. They sort of look like those raised areas on metal platforms to keep you from slipping. It seemed like these are meant to be there for a purpose, to make it easier for you to unscrew it, or something. Okay, enough. 14 minutes. The other pen I got in the mail yesterday was this one, pencil. It's a Norma octagonal pencil with 4 different lead colors in it. And I mentioned that I don't have a gold one. Well, that was an alternative fact. Or a lie. We used to call those things lies before Kellyanne Conway decided that lies were just alternative facts. I had a gold one without a clip, however, and a gold one with a different pattern. And let's see, I don't know if you can tell the difference of the patterns. And one of my YouTube viewers, thank you very much, discovered what the initials SKF, and S. God, that's hard to. SKF, and SKF, and S was for some German bicycle hub manufactory ball bearing thing. And I thought I had other ones that had initials at the top, but I don't have other Norma pencils. These, I think, were made in Germany, which might make sense with that German name. But as you see, or now you see, I have many of these things. My favorite by far is this one. This is I don't know if it's octagonal or septagonal or it's hexagonal. It's a hexagon, and there are 6 lead colors, not just 4. And this is called a super Norma, I think. I think it says super Norma at the top. But there's something really, really pleasant about how these things work and the variations among them. Some of them the color of the lead was in the little knurled bits here. I don't know if you can see that. They were painted. Here you see the paint remaining, the enamel still there. And other times the enameling was on the barrel underneath the slidey bit. This one, when you push this down, this one catches, there's a little tab that comes up through the hole, and to push the lead back, you just put your finger on the hole and it slides back. Other ones, they slide back when you deploy a different color. They're locked in place and you want a different color, and you just push it down and it slides back. So the mechanism that goes into these things, there's like as many parts as in a 747 as in this thing. Lots and lots of parts. This one is another one of those lockdown versions, but I loved that this one was so well used. And whoever owned this pen really held it right down there at the front. Intended to write with, well, it could be any color, but he was right-handed, I presume, because this is really worn on this side. No, it's just fascinating, I think. Sometimes their clips had slight decoration on them. Sometimes they were more Art Deco looking, less sort of fluid and Art Nouveau-ish like. Hamburg. This one has a company's name from Hamburg. Anyway, just really delightful. And all of these are different, of course. That's why I have to have all of them. No, this one maybe this one isn't. Let's just see. No, I don't have one of those yet. These two are not the same. They've got different patterns. So you have to keep them both. What about this one? This one has this pattern. These two are the same, except this one never had a clip. So they're not the same. Have to keep them both. I don't have to keep them both. This is another one, similar era, but a different pattern. Actually, these two are the same, except one doesn't have a clip. Maybe I don't have to keep them both. Maybe I can sell one. Maybe. These are the duplicates. I'll set those there. Keep looking. This one is round, like as this one is. Are these two the same? They are. Slightly different clips, slightly different tops. I'm saving the more modern ones for last year. This one is missing its clip, but is in, oh, I lied again. My alternative fact, I have 3 gold ones. So this is barely counts as gold because it's so worn. There's a tiny bit of plating still left on it. Missing its clip. Different pattern from the others though. Okay, are we done? Okay, the other ones are more modern, I think. This one, yeah, this is more modern. Ugly clip on it. There's a point at which clips were too expensive to make or do something, I don't know what, but the clips, this one got really ugly, cheap looking, and it's chrome plated, which makes it look kind of cheap too. And then the most modern ones I have are here, and they really don't have the charm of the older ones. Sperry. And then I think I have one Fennel Beef Company that actually, maybe it's not this company, that has a ball point as one of the options that comes down, but I don't think it's these. So these are to me the least interesting, but they're still neat. And so they stay in the drawer. And I'll decide. It's easier to keep them than to decide which one to sell. That's my problem. And it's the subtle differences of things that I find interesting. I don't need just one of something, because that's boring. You want to have lots of everything. Look at that. Red when you want it. Blue when you want it. With the touch of a button. Green. And black. I wonder what the hexagonal one had for color choices. Those plus 2 more. I think there was a yellow lead in it. It is yellow, believe it or not. And green, orange, blue, red, black. Yellow, green, orange, blue, orange. It's brownish. Cool. Okay, that goes back in the drawer. This was the box that came with the gold one. I suppose I should leave it in the box, even though the box doesn't say anything. This is my swan with the threads that don't work. I might have a barrel to replace this, or a cap to replace it, but otherwise, I'll just keep it the way it is. If it's in my desk drawer up here, it usually means many of the Frankenpen pens I have, because the nibs are so long, I actually, and since I am dipping them, I don't actually connect the cap with the pen. I don't screw it down because I'm afraid of breaking the nib. On some of them, most of them I've found the right body to put the Victorian dip nib in, so I don't have that problem, but occasionally I do. Well, today I actually have to start planning my life, what's left of it. This coronavirus business is really weird. I mean, I don't think I can possibly have been infected because I'd have to actually see someone. And even though I talk about going to a leather bar and writing someone's name with this pen, I don't actually do that. Have I ever done that? Well, you'd have to know me a little bit better to know that, but I work from home, and there's a grocery store within walking distance. I don't have to actually see people, let alone sneeze on them or be sneezed on myself by them. So I think I'm probably pretty safe myself, but there are things that I used to do as a group with other people. Urban sketching is one, and this potluck I go to is another. And those have been canceled because of this thing. And even though I didn't go there to be sneezed upon, I suppose someone could have sneezed on me without me knowing it. Anyway, I'm presuming I will manage. They're saying, the people that are the sick and the elderly. Well, I'm elderly these days. I forget that sometimes. 63 years old. That's pretty damn old. I'm looking for my coelacanth. There we are. Here's my coelacanth face. Not as old as I am. Yeah, I'm not a living fossil yet. A dead living fossil in the case of the coelacanth that I was modeling that after. But I'm not that old. Bye.